Hi, Maria Counts here from Landscape Skills, and I just wanted to go through quickly how to cut out trees. So that is what I'm going to be showing you so that you can build your own toolkit libraries. So with our studio counts and different landscape skills, we like to just have our own little toolkits. And I use it as sort of a palette. For every single project, I have my own little toolkit palette for what the project is. And then I can just carry them around like this, and I can move them back and forth, and I can test them out, and I can make them bigger and smaller and edit them in here. And that way it's like a playground for every single project. Consistent, I can come back to it, and it's not a static thing. It's a TIFF file or PSD file that I'll save it as, so it's really workable. The way that I do this is I will select a photograph that I've taken myself, or I'll go to the internet and I will get a trees image that is copyright free. Make sure you're very mindful of that. Or you can download free PNGs as well. So I'm going to show you though how to clip out ones in the event that you just find a tree that you absolutely love and have to have, and that it's not already pre-clipped out for you. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to save it somewhere that you can remember, and so I'm going to put it in my landscape skills folder and do free tutorials and do the tree there, right there. Okay, and then I'm going to open it up and let's see, desktop here, landscape skills and free tutorials, and there's my tree. It's a JPEG. Okay, open. Awesome. So I'm going to duplicate the layer and then turn the background off, and that way I can actually start to delete some of this information that I don't need in the back. So the way that I do that is I will have Photoshop open, and the workspace that I'm going to be using is Essentials. So if these tools aren't showing up for you, that's what you want to do. So if you look over here, we have the Magic Wand tool. It's kind of hidden behind that one over there that, with the arrows. You can just select an area, and you can just go ahead and hit delete on your keyboard, and it will start to delete the items. Now, since I have a background set to black here, it's filling it with black. So once I have that layer duplicated, I'm going to go over here and I am going to select my Magic Wand tool, and then I'm going to select an area. And I'm going to make sure that in my Layers Manager, which if it's not popping up, just go to Window Layers and that'll pop up. Then you can delete that zone of information. So you can go through one by one and just kind of delete all the blue and white. If you want to select a greater area of the pixels, you can change the tolerance to be something higher so that you can actually select a greater range. The other thing you can do is hold down Shift, and that will help you to select multiple areas, and then deselect, which is Control D. So again, I can use a greater tolerance, so let's say something like 50, and then if I select that zone, it's going to be a little bit bigger. If I select something really low, like 1, it's going to only select a small sampling. So that's going to be a bit more tedious for us. The other thing you can do is select an area and then say select similar. So anything super similar to that will be selected. And you can also do kind of a combo where you select multiple areas and then say similar to all of those. So it could be similar to, select similar to anything that's both of those colors. Now if you get too high or too many things that are too similar, then it's just going to select the whole image. So that's not going to be very helpful. So you don't want to do that. So that's really the process for using the Magic Wand tool to clip out your trees. So this is really great if you've taken your own photographs, which is, I think, preferred. But certainly a great way if you're trying to make an image that doesn't look like a fake, 3D modeled kind of tree, or you really want a real tree. I find this also very helpful if you're looking to have more mature trees. A lot of the 3D model OBJ files and rendered views that I've been finding are very young tree plantings. So they don't have the large canopies. They certainly don't have a thick trunk. So that can be a challenge. And then once you get into more of the nitty gritty over here, this might take a little bit more work. So, I would recommend setting aside some time and having this be something that you work on over the course of a semester or a few months, just kind of start building your library and really put in the time ahead of time, and it'll really pay off. Now, you can also see here that I just selected a little bit too much. And I'm not really sure if there's extra white from the clouds. So one good tip here is to actually create a new layer behind as a background layer to this actual tree, and use a color like a green screen. That's what I like to use, like they do in the movies, and that'll help pop any other items that are in this picture area, because anything that's in here, if you use this tree as one of your tree paints, objects, then it's going to come in with it. So you really want to get rid of everything. So you really want to be able to see everything. So I find it very difficult to see on the white layer, but if I do the green screen, then that really helps me. So I would highly recommend that. And then finally, if you do want to clip things out manually, I guess more manually yourself, rather than having it select with the magic wand, you can go over here's the polygon lasso tool, and if you zoom in, which you can do then with Control +++, then you can actually use that polygon lasso tool. Just click points, click, 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 and then make sure it closes, and it'll just delete everything in that zone. And then of course you just want to deselect. So that's another way of doing it. If you're in Miami, like me, and you're doing palm trees, then you are going to want to use this, because the palm trees, the palms, you're going to want to actually outline to get those zigzags, unless you have a really great background. So I'm not going to do this entire tree here right this second, but you have all that you need to know in order to do this. So as you are scouring the internet or your own photographic library, in summary, in here when you're looking for them, try to get a nice angle of the tree. Try not to get something that's too perspectival and dimensional, because it's great for sections, and you can also warp and tweak the trees later. So and then also try to get something with a simple background, right? So trees that are all next to each other, that's not going to be good, because there's going to be a lot of overlapping. Try to get some trees that are sort of medium maturity, right? If it's too old and you have these like gigantic trunks, it's not going to be very realistic. Large trees like that don't really want to be transplanted. And then also try not to get too young of trees, because they're too small. And you really want to stay away from fake looking kinds of trees if you're really intending to do some kind of Photoshop collage that is not so cartoony. So those are my tips for clipping out trees. And then do save your file as a working file, a TIFF. You could save it as a PNG without any of these kind of backgrounds. Do not flatten the file and just make it a JPEG, because if you do that, it's just going to make that background white, and you're going to have to select and delete that background again. So I would highly recommend staying away from that. All right, thanks so much. That's it.